Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome today to our Data Plus Women Data Discussions panel. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, our panelists today come in from multiple countries across APAC, and I'm curious to know where you're coming in from. So, feel free to add it in the chat box so we get a feel of where everyone's joining in. Awesome. I can see people coming in from all over Asia Pacific. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tanushree or Tanu, and I'm part of the solution engineering team here at Tableau Singapore. And I also happen to co-lead Data Plus Women, which is a community initiative where we bring in cool ladies like the ladies you're going to be speaking to today, and we help them help others starting or in between their careers figure out the data space. So I'll be your host for today's panel, and although there will be a Q&A function on your chat boxes, so go ahead and use that. Ask us questions. We have some really friendly Tableau reps who are eager to answer those questions for you. And with that, I am extremely excited to introduce our really cool women that we have today. So, panelists, when I introduce you, if you could give a nice warm wave and say hello, that would be perfect. First up, we have Rebecca Scarlett, or Beck. Beck has joined us from Sydney, Australia. Good day, Beck. Good day, Beck. Apparently, she told me that's getting a bit outdated now. She's just recently started her own startup called VizRite Dashboard Solutions. Beck has had over 15 years of experience in this BI space. I believe she started her career with Caltex Australia. And if you're wondering how things have changed in the BI space, she's worked across different departments, particularly, I believe, with finance and the most recent, and you're wondering how visualizations fit into that, then we will be checking in with her. Don't worry. Next up, we have Vaishnavi, or Vesh. Hi, Vesh. So Vesh joins us from Chennai, India. She joins from Chennai, India. Vanakkam, in case any of you are joining in from there. Vesh is currently leading with a bank in Chennai, and she's been working in the data space for over 8 years, I believe. And she's put on multiple hats. She's been a programmer, she's been a data scientist, she's been in data warehousing. So if you're wondering how she learned all those things and still stuck with Tableau, another thing we will be checking with her. And finally, we have a Tableau Zen master and a data visualization celebrity. Drumroll, please. Please welcome Yukari Nagata. She joins us from Tokyo, Japan. Konnichiwa, Yukari.
Hey, hi.
Yukari has been at the forefront of spreading data literacy. Many of you on the call may have already come across a blog post, and she's particularly been leading this in Japan through her organization called Path. Along with that, she co-leads Japanese Tableau user group, which is a pretty big group of 700 plus members. So really, Yukari has opened up the world of business intelligence to a much larger audience. Again, in case you're wondering, how does she juggle all of this? How did she get into this space? How has she learned herself? Another thing we will be checking with her. Exciting, right? We have I'm pretty excited to speak to them, and I'm sure you are too. And we're going to start this discussion now with a question for Beck. So Beck, I know you've worked, as we shared, in the industry for a while. You've worked for about 15 years. I think you mentioned to me in our previous conversation, you started with Crystal Reports. Now, as someone who's just joined the industry, I was just hoping you could share how you've seen the industry change, maybe how you've seen your role within BI chain and how you've kind of adapted to all of this change.
Thanks, Tanu. Yes, BI technology has come a long way from the traditional table view of data to display performance results we've had in the past with tools like Crystal and Cognos. With a wide range of excellent tools available to us now, we're not only able to visualize what has happened within our business in real time, but we're able to use predictive models to able to deliver prescriptive analytics to drive strategic decisions within our businesses. What I found with the increase in technology in our BI tools means we've moved away from spending majority of our time manipulating, cleansing data to get it in a format we need to be able to draw insights from. And we can spend more time actually analysing and drilling through the data to find out what the anomalies are and what items actually driving certain behaviours so that then we can use that data to strategically plan how we're going to target our customers, to increase our revenue, our market share, and things like that. So we've gone from spending a lot of our time cleansing data to then being able to offer recommendations to our senior leaders on utilising that data to gain a competitive edge in the market.
Nice, very nice. And I mean, I think I am pretty impressed because I've been here 2 years in this space and I'm already kind of had to pick up a few different skills. I started with Tableau. Now I'm a bit more curious and I'm going into SQL. Do you have any tips for someone who's also somewhere in between on how you've kind of kept yourself so updated and being constantly open to learning these new things that come along?
Every opportunity that comes your way, grab a hold of it. So I was a pioneer in Optus business with Tableau, and it revolutionised my reporting in that area, the way I was able to automate Excel-based reports. So we would use SQL Server to extract our data and then do some visualisation and other metrics within Excel and then publish that in a PowerPoint presentation. So just be open to learning new technology. Tableau's great in that you don't have to understand code, but I believe we're going to touch on that point a little bit further on.
We will. Thank you. And yeah, I mean, I think that idea of starting off with the automation piece and being able to replicate that and get the business use cases done, I think that's something I remember I'd also had a discussion with Yukari on. So I'm going to bring Yukari in here. So Yukari, I understand you've worked through Path, you've kind of worked a lot in finance and in audit analysis. Now, typically in an industry like that, I don't know if this is a preconceived notion, but I've kind of seen that it's surrounded a lot more with tables and formal structures, and you've done so much work on data literacy. I was wondering if you had any tips or techniques that has worked for you to get people to accept visual analytics, particularly if they come from a traditional background.
Yes, it's not like I decided to get into that sector analysis, but I originally had a business experience in that sector before diving into data world, Tableau. So I just tried to connect the business experience in that sector and data knowledge and technology. As you mentioned, this kind of sector is typically surrounded by order structures. But the thing is how immediately to show anything concrete to inspire and let clients have a clear image for data analytics. It means immediate small success. So sometimes that small success is the POC support, which consulting firms provide like us. And it can be sometimes a real-time update of what people have been copying and pasting at hand. So depending on the size of your company's business and environment around you, it's a good idea to consider small, impactful success that can deliver quick results. Some tips for small success perspective is, number one is to show no copy and paste word using, for example, server and BI. Number two is to let them experience quick visual understanding instead of cross-tab. And lastly, to create the word, we can share something dependent on individual skill.
Nice. So it's first help people kind of go away from that whole manual effort. So you help them get automated. Help them then see, once we get that barrier done, then get it more visual and then help them then get the power to develop their own skills is what I've captured. Perfect. I was curious, have you seen this happen in any of your customers? What has that been like from your customers' experience?
Yes, when I provide consulting for our clients, we always help small success first. And small success variation depends on the organization situation. Many people try to get big achievement at one time, but the thing is to get along step by step. So in my experience, for example, financial industry, it normally takes 3 to 5 years from traditional style to data-oriented management company.
No, that's interesting. And the idea that it does take that much time, I think for everyone who's listening in, don't worry if it's taking a while. I think Yukari spoke with a lot of organizations, says that's normal. It will take some time to get people to transition over. And I think that's where I'd like to bring our multiple hats Vaishnavi on here, because I know, Vaishnavi, you've done a lot of work in data warehousing, data science, data analytics, and those are really diverse data pockets. I was kind of wondering how, firstly, your journey was like. How did you make those career choices? And maybe a little bit of your perspective on the reception of BI across these areas.
Okay. So I started my career in the BI platform. So it was like that time we had like more of the traditional practices. So it was a time where we thought to switch from the traditional practices to the modern BI practices. So there was a lot of POC going on. So I picked up Tableau over there, and we used it for modern analytics and modern BI transformation. So earlier, like the customers were more used to the traditional practices on seeing the way they see the report and etc. So we were not trying to convince the customer to adapt to the new change, and that's why that's how I stepped into the modern BI. And coming to the modern BI, like we brought into the new practices like the self-service BI, and then having the reports in the mobile devices like iPad, iPhone, etc. And to access all the reports in the mobile applications. So, like, it's my first start, like, starting in my BA platform. And then I stepped into the analytics platform. So, here it's like just moving on from the modern BI and then exploring the areas in the visual analytics and the modern analytics. So, all throughout this, like, I remember I starting Tableau with the Tableau 8 version. So, throughout all, yeah. So, I just know as Tableau grows, like I keep no, like I see lot of no, analytics features infused in Tableau in the recent in the upgraded versions, right? So it's really quite good, and also it helped me as long as I moved to the different choices. Like Tableau also had a lot of additional features coming in the new latest version, so it was really helpful. And I see like all are interconnected. Like BI, say BI, and then the analytics, all are getting the right data and extracting the useful information and providing it with the insights. Say it is data science, like we have the supervised and unsupervised learning, like all with dealing with the data. So it was really easy for me to pick up. So if I say like all these skills, I learned it on demand, on my job demand.
So, you picked it up on the job, all like, so you didn't get the skill and then the job. It was the job, then the skill.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Right from the Tableau, like when I started on 2012, so it was like all I learned through communities and the training videos available. Even Tableau, I learned it on demand. And the same way we say be the analytics or data science. So it is like quite interesting when we get a chance to work or pick a new skill on your job demand. It really gives you an enormous experience. So you can learn a lot, I would say.
Perfect. And yeah, I think that pressure of having to do it for the job also kind of adds on.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And I think that's kind of where I also think that Rebecca, maybe you could talk a little bit more about this, because I know that you've worked a lot with data, and I would love to hear what you think in this space in terms of the process that Vaishnavi talked about a little bit.
Yes, Vaishnavi's covered the process that goes into working with data. Of course, Tableau helps with the self-service part of Tableau helps with the self-service part of analyzing and visualizing data. The great thing with Tableau is that you don't need to know how to code. It has been designed to cut the code for you as you drag and drop your dimensions and measures onto your canvas. You're able to concentrate on visualizing the data to tell a story instead of concentrating on how to code and trying to remember your syntax. This feature has been especially important to lowering the barrier of entry for data enthusiasts I support in the finance space, so they're able to seamlessly migrate from traditional tools such as Excel and being able to start exploring data visually in Tableau.
Got it. And in terms of like how what are the kind of skills that you feel is in interest of anyone kind of joining this space?
Having a curious nature, constantly asking why, and just looking for any of those anomalies in the data. What is this telling me? Is it something that's important, or is it an outlier and I need to ignore it?
Got it. And I completely agree. I mean, as I think that curiosity also pushes you to pick up new skills. And I think just shedding any kind of doubt that you may have when you're approaching a new language is super important. I also remember back that you mentioned that your daughter did a project at 16. That's super cool. Could you tell us a little bit more about your daughter and her 16-year-old?
That's right, Tanu. That's right. My daughter is interested in she's starting year 12 next term, and she's very, very interested in the BI space. And she used to watch me produce some visualizations and go, Mum, you put pretty charts together for a living. That's a cool job. So she was fortunate enough to go and work with my old team in the BI space with Optus and got some work experience. And it was such a great insight to her, not only learning about BI and how we approach solving business problems and support the business that way, but also understand how working in a large organisation and how that feels to be part of a collaborative team. She also was initiated into agile methodologies. She had stand-ups each day. She was only there a week, so she didn't end up doing a retrospective, but she was required to then put a presentation together about what BI is and how it helps senior leaders drive their strategic decision-making within an organisation.
Wow. I think I'm going to call her in for my customer calls and conversations then. No, but that's super cool. I hope she does continue her data exploration. In fact, Vaishnavi, is the audio working for you right now? Can we just quickly do a check? Okay, I think we will have to come back. I can't hear you still. Okay. Anyway, thank you. I think Rebecca. I think I'm just speaking about backgrounds and how you kind of get into this whole space. Yukari, I remembered you mentioned in one of your previous talks that I attended. I think it was one of the Tableau user group talks. That your background was in economics and not IT. Do you think that had an influence in your career choice? How did you get to being this Zen master that you are today?
I don't see that special advantage, but it might be good to know the fundamental way of thinking, including behavioral economics, for example, and the fundamental statistics concept. So in this regard, however, I have never thought of current data career when I was a university student. So after encountering Tableau, I just simply thought it's going to be fun if I could integrate data with my business consulting experience. So what I'm doing now is to transform a traditional analytics style to modern analytics, design thinking oriented analytics style.
Nice. And you started your career, I believe, in?
Yeah.
What was your first job after?
What was my
first job after university?
Business consulting in Accenture, Japan, Tokyo.
Oh, interesting. And you didn't do any BI there, I understand, right?
No, not at all.
Oh, wow. So I guess, again, anyone who's in a consulting background, if you're working mostly with Excel, you have a few role models here who have completely transitioned into a BI analytics space. So that's pretty cool. And maybe I can bring you back in, Rebecca, because I think Yukari did mention how she transitioned over. What is your opinion of this kind of transition? And did you have any people who influenced you to get into this BI space? I know you started as an analyst, but did you get people who got you more interested in this space? And if you could talk a little bit more about that.
I think I've always been interested in measuring a task or performance. So inherently, that's what we're doing as analysts. We're wanting to measure how something, whether it's a strategic decision, a play, how well that has performed, and if we could enhance that performance. And all through my career, I've always tried to automate where possible so people can spend more time on the value add items, like actually deriving insights, providing recommendations, looking at predictions. So it was my enjoy of this space and the curious mindset to always ask why, and find out why something is, happening the way it is. But also we touched on before about saying within this industry, no matter what industry or profession you're in, the way you're able to collaborate when you're in a BI function across other teams and build strong working relationships together. So there are many allies I've encountered in my career. However, to stay on topic, I want to give a shout out to Fee Gordon. You may know her as VizChick. She provided me with my first Tableau desktop license over 6 years ago, and I've never looked back. Tableau is my visualization tool of choice, and I love the support the Tableau community provides to all Viz enthusiasts, such as this session today, where people are talking about how they've gotten started and sharing some of their insights. It's a fabulous community, and that's why the product does so well, because it's not just a product. It's bigger than that. It's the community that embraces and shares the knowledge.
I completely agree. And I think my biggest learning out 2 years out and learn in this space is how important a community is. And I think more than anything, any tool that there is out there, if there's a strong community, it's so much easier to pick up. And yeah, I've been following VizChick for a while, and she's got some really good blog posts out there. So in case any of you are starting off, I definitely recommend. We've got some really, really smart people writing some really, really interesting things about it. Maybe you'll find your fee somewhere and you get more interested in this space. Yukari is one of them. She's been writing quite a bit. So do follow her too on her Twitter as well. So Rebecca, I completely agree, right? Like communities, I've learned so much in these 2 years, thanks to different communities of different tools and softwares, right from Tableau to R. And I think I wanted to bring Vash back here. Now, I know you've worked across departments, across industries. Do you have any insight on how data-driven an organization is and how that kind of opens up the culture, not just in terms of individual performance, but especially for women? Do you think there's a culture and an influence on how easy it is for women to kind of strive and work in that culture?
Yes, absolutely, Tanu. For any any organization with a data-driven culture, it's going to be transparent. Like all the decisions and the strategies they're going to make, it's all with the available data. So that availability of the data and data-driven culture really enables to take the right decision. And coming to the point, like how women can then benefit and how they can strive through it is. So let me say an example here. So for example, like on any data-driven culture organization, let's take a HR department. They can use the data, analyze it, and they can take a decision. So if there is any unconscious gender bias, or they can use it to make it gender equality. And especially coming to women, they can see how many are there equal pay, and we have enough senior leaders in the diversity, like on the women's space. So for that kind of decision making, it's really going to help women over here. So bringing in the gender equality is it's going to be like a lot more beneficial in the data-driven culture.
I agree. I think it's like the idea is that you have the numbers rather than an opinion driving that conversation.
Right.
I completely agree. And I think that does really help. Maybe just as we're closing, we can just have a final question going around. So I'll start maybe with Yukari this time. If you had 2 major tips for anyone who's starting off in the BI space, what would it be? Particularly if you think there's something relevant to women who are starting out.
Yes, firstly, continuous learning is the most important thing, in my opinion. So ad hoc training is just a first boost. It can be trigger, but real skill cannot possibly be achieved overnight. So secondly, I recommend you to attend a Tableau conference. it seems costly for especially APAC people in terms of air accommodation. And actually, you can see through YouTube after that, but real teaching enthusiastic audience have always motivated me.
Nice. Yeah, I was at conference this year, and for those of you who haven't been, we have an event there called Data Night Out, and it's probably the most nerdy but the most fun party I've ever been to in my life. So yes, that's pretty good. And yeah, I think that brings back Rebecca's point as well, where she talked about being curious. So before I take that away, Rebecca, maybe your 2 tips for anyone who's starting out here.
Just having an open mindset, embrace new things, and ask for help. There are so many people in the community that are willing to share their learnings and experience. So start today.
Perfect. What are your 2 major tips for anyone starting their journey in BI or in the data space? What would you have your 2 major things that you'd like to leave them with?
Like the first thing is to understand your data. Just before beginning anything, I learned a lot from my experiences. We should have the should be able to identify the right data and should pick the right data structure as well. Before that kind of knowledge, and then some knowledge on the database side, like query. That is going to be really helpful for us to understand the data. Once you become very strong in understanding your data and what you have it in your hand, it will really help you to relate with your business problems. So my first tip was definitely to understand the data structure, and what is the databases are in your business, and it's being used in your organization. And the second was, like, once you're comfortable with your data, you have to be very careful with what you're dealing with, who's your end users, and you can just pick the right way of visualizing to convey your insights and recommendation. It's going to be pretty easy once you understand your problem. BI is going to be really easy to convey your strategy recommendations and insights. For any learning with, I would say from my example, I learned it a lot from Tableau community, and we have a lot available, lot of training videos available here. So, you can just pick it over there.
Perfect. So thank you, all our panelists. I think that if I could just say some of the key takeaways as I've learned in the solution engineering, to give a few of the key takeaways, I think definitely be curious, leverage on the community, give yourself some time as you're discovering this data space. It takes time, it's normal. And probably if you get a job, there's a new skill involved. Don't be intimidated. Go into it. You'll be able to figure it out, especially when you do the first 2 of being curious and leveraging on the community. Thank you so much, panelists, and thank you so much for everyone who joined. If you have any questions, we're monitoring the panel, and we hope you have the rest of a really good rest of Tableau Live. Have fun, and we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.